Greetings, my friend. Welcome to the secret shop.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the secret shop. I am Ian, and I'm joined by my regular co-host, Simon. How are you doing? Long time no see, buddy.
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. I've been on vacation, it was fantastic. And then I was under the weather for a bit. Not so fantastic.
You're feeling okay enough to do the podcast with us today?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good. And Anger, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Fantastic. Very good. Very good. So, for today, we have a lot of stuff to talk about, of course, with everything that's been going on in the beta. It's been very exciting. So, with that, we're going to start, though, of course, with our warm-up question. What I wanted to talk about specifically was, like, what are some of, like, the moments that have been going on in the beta so far that you thought were like particularly sweet or particularly interesting? Because I have one that happened to me just this morning that was really, really sweet that I want to tell you about. And so as you guys are thinking, this is a play that happened in one of my games that was absolutely unreal. So I'm in a draft game. I've only played draft at this point. I've never touched constructed yet, but I was in the draft. I was like kind of losing lane 1 and lane 3. The only lane I'm really ahead in is lane 2. Lane 1, there's been a bristleback in that lane all game long. Mm-hmm. He has at this point, I think, something like a 12, 8, like 18 or something like this. Like absolute fucking unit. He's just been like chowing down on my heroes left and right. I'm in a blue-black control deck. It's a good blood deck, but that's what I'm up to in the deck. So he can obviously chow down on all of my shit.
Right.
So like that's happening in the left lane. In the mid lane, what I do, I have an assassin shadow that is a 5, like that is a 5/7 right now, or 5/5 right now. I slay one of my creeps to get the Assassin Shadow up to a 7/5. I then use my Lich to sacrifice the Assassin Shadow to draw an extra card. I draw into 2 copies of Payday. I have 15 gold at this point, so I go up to 60 by doubling it. I then, in the shopping phase, buy my 2 copies of Helm of the Dominator.
There you go.
To take control. Disgusting. It's so disgusting. And I finally end up taking control of the left wing. That bristleback never died all game long. He just sat there fucking shit up like turn after turn after turn, and I could do nothing about it. And I still was able to find a way to win. It was so sweet.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Okay, so how about you, Anger? Are there any particularly sweet moments that you've had in your games recently?
Well, I was streaming the other day, and what I did was the Twitch chat built my deck in constructed.
Oh,
so
nice.
Like first we did heroes. First 5 heroes to be named in the chat are the ones in my deck, and then like for every color, so if there's 1 red, 5 red cards. The first 5 red cards to be named, I put in my deck.
Nice.
So we constructed a deck, and then we searched for some games. And
I'm sure the deck was absolutely. What were some of the highlights in the deck? What were some of the highlights of the deck?
Well, for example, in one, there was Meepo, Prolax, and Keith, I think.
Okay.
Because we did it many times, and in another there was Rix. I don't know. They literally took the shittiest heroes just to spite me. But it was really funny because I actually won a few times.
Oh yeah! Oh shit!
It's so embarrassing for the people I played against, and especially one game that was the one with Rix, because we had I can't remember exactly, but somehow we put the Bracers of Sacrifice, because of course they wanted the Bracers of Sacrifice in my item deck.
Yeah, of course.
I put that on Rix, and then over and over again every round, because he has rapid deployment, I just fucked the lanes up, and that somehow let us win with Rix and Bracers of Sacrifice.
Yeah, people...
that made him so mobile,
Yeah, honestly, people are sleeping on Rix because I've been seeing so many Vestiges of the Tyrant and just the rapid deployment being such a huge difference. I'm surprised not seeing enough Rixes out there. I
Well,
understand
the
that he
problem is
starts
having
with low
three.
stats, but still.
The problem is having 3 literally unplayable cards on your hand.
Yeah, I really think that people the card that it puts in your deck is one of the most important things that's going on with every hero card like that, and just like value passive, but like those like valuable cards. And I think that the game that I was talking about against the giant bristleback is one of the examples of this, where they have a giant scary unit that just doesn't even die. Like, you forget about redeployment stuff. He just is unkillable, but I'm able to beat him anyway because he's cost magnetic, yeah, as fuck. So much so that I was able to take down the lane, which is how that term means things.
Yeah. And also the reason why Vesture of the Tyrant and Rix is kind of different is because with Vesture of Tyrant, when it dies and you have rapid deployment, whatever lane you put it in will have +3 armor. That's like basically half of why it's so good. That you can redeploy it and then put the +3 armor on any tower you want. But with Rix, you know, you can just decide where to feed next, you know? There is no actual plus side.
Yeah, that 3 armor really does a huge difference. I've seen some games where like one hero with a Vesture is saving the entire lane.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is something that there are a bunch of these situations where you can basically just like shut down, create combat, and there's just like some decks that just like can't win as a result of that. But with that, what about you, Simon? Was there any moments that you caught, for instance, on streams or whatever, that you thought were particularly special?
Well, since I'm just a monkey, Twitch chat is the best I'll get. So I can share some of my favorite copy pastas. Is that what you're? No.
I'm more talking about like the stuff that you saw like in the like in streams that you were watching or whatever. Because I think you said that you had a chance to watch some of those, right?
Epic gamer moments.
Yeah,
yeah.
I can definitely recommend Mega Mogwai's stream to anyone because he does some really nice experimentation, very entertaining to watch, and he has run into some very interesting decks. For example, he ran up against one that was so many improvements. Like, at one point, there were at least 13 improvements on the board. It was absolutely insane.
What colors?
Oh, God, come on. I'm not... Definitely blue.
Like green, blue?
I believe so. That green, one was definitely insane. There were some... others, like today, he got especially triggered by one that just seemed to counter him at every turn. Really, it's on. And at this point, I will just say that people are really just lying when they're saying that Artifact is not exciting to watch, because it really, really is. Once you get over the, learning curve, if you're not very familiar with it, it is extremely exciting to watch from one turn to the next, especially when it gets late in the game. So many games get so close. I see very few stomps, honestly.
I am going to hard agree with that. It's something that the initial, what you're visually processing, that's hard. But once you get past that, and you can kind of assess the game state and put together what's happening, and then it even takes a couple turns for you to realize oh, okay, these heroes that are died, why they died, these are the bonuses they have on it, this is all the stuff that's kind of happening in that respect. That does make it a more difficult viewing experience than a lot of other games where you can just turn it on and you can already figure out what's happening in the game. But for instance, like Dota, you turn on the game, you look at the kill counts, you look at the gold totals, you look at the team compositions, and you can just look at the mini map too, and you have a really good idea very quickly about what's going on in the game, why it matters, and who's in the lead and who's behind, etc. In Artifact, it does sometimes take a little while to process and put those things together. Once you're past that state, though, that you can do that a little bit, there are so many close games and interesting moments and drama and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, sometimes people just get horribly outplayed and the game is just over as a result of that, or if one person has a shitty deck and a shitty draw. But the percentage of games where it's functionally a non-game has been really, really low from my impressions.
I feel like it's very dependent on what the streamer does, because like for example, Swim is a good example because he basically never shuts the fuck up, you know, and that
Yes,
makes it so
yeah.
entertaining because he's always talking. So even if nothing happens and you don't understand what the fuck is going on, you know, Swim just keeps talking and you can always just listen to
Yeah.
him. And I also think that the reason why so many people are struggling to watch is not just because they don't know the rules of the game, but just they haven't learned the effects of all the cards, you know. And everyone who streams assumes that everybody knows what all the cards do, but if you haven't played TTS, it's really hard. If you're not in the open beta and haven't played TTS, it's really hard to, you know what every card does.
As a Twitch chat expert, I can tell you that a lot of people still don't understand that you can only play spells of the corresponding colors, blah, blah, blah. There's so many people who are like, no, why aren't you playing that card? Oh my god,
I mean, that's just Twitch chat, man.
The back seating for this game is just going to be mwah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
full-time Twitch chatter.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it. I mean, the thing though, you know, with all of that too, is right now is a weird time for giving that kind of introductory information because there is such a wide range of who's like watching right now. There are people who have no idea what's going on. Like for instance, I feel bad for somebody like Savich. Like his Twitch chat is going to be a mix of people who know him from his Hearthstone stuff and is stopping by to check out his artifact stuff, and then there are going to be people who are just following him for the artifact stuff that he's been doing recently too. And when you have that kind of mix, it's really hard to like meet everybody's needs because either you're constantly explaining the basic mechanics of the game, which is fucking mind-numbing to do, just constantly being like, this is how positioning works. This is how initiative works. This is how this like I really feel bad for people for Twitch streamers who have to do that like hour after hour every day for days on end. I mean, but at the same time, like there are people who are in the chat who don't know what's going on, and if you don't explain it to them, they're going to leave. So like it feels like it's a no-win situation. This is why somebody though like Swim, who I think has established himself as an artifact player's streamer, like primarily right now. Like you'll understand the fact that he's switched from Gwent and is now
Gwent.
doing the artifact. Yeah, Rip Gwent. Poor Gwent.
What's Gwent?
We barely knew you. What's a Gwent? Yeah, never heard of it. So, but like with that, he's now people like understand him as being like this artifact like focused streamer. So people who are going into the chat probably have either like heard some of this spiel before about how the game works, or like it's not going to be quite as much of the newbie experience going on there, which maybe will help solve things too. He's also just really good at talking constantly, as Anger was saying.
Constantly.
Yeah. So that. Yes, constantly, which is good. I mean, like you need to do that. That's a good Twitch streaming stuff. But that's
the whole point.
But I mean, like, but it's really hard to do though, too, right? Like talking while you're actually playing the game because you're thinking really hard about your plays and stuff like that. And this is also something that one of his advantages of having played a ton already means that he's just using less of his brain power on every individual play. So with that, how about we wanted to talk a little bit about just kind of like general impressions about what's been going on in the game and our thoughts of different decks and stuff. And then at the end, we're going to spend some time actually doing a draft together, and that'll be a fun way to get some of our impressions about draft. But one of the things, for instance, that I wanted to start off by talking about was before we got on the air, started recording, Cymen, you were saying that you think that there's a lot that the early beta testers didn't understand or are kind of proven wrong in some respects. Can you expand on that thought?
Yeah, I wouldn't say they had it wrong or something. Well, in some respects they did. But what I meant is that they had such a small player base. There wasn't much space for evolution when it comes to the metagame. So people were usually focused on draft, etc. They just couldn't find the games in Constructed. But now that they've actually had the chance to play with a variety of people, with a variety of, experience levels, we've seen way more experimentation in constructed decks and what people encounter online. So just one of just one of those things that beta testers were saying would not happen is mono blue, for example. They said that blue is probably one of the weakest colors, at least in constructed, and it needs something to support it, or otherwise the game is way too late. But we have actually seen a couple very strong mono blue decks now, and other mono colors as well.
Yeah, with the monocolor decks also, I was watching Swim's channel, earlier this week, and I think it was just 2 days ago on Friday. He was playing mono red deck actually, and just smashing fools with it. And he was even saying, like, as he was playing the games, that there were some innovations in the deck that people hadn't tried before, and he felt like they made a really big difference. One of the ones that he was particularly talking about was phase boots. Since mono red has just like hyper focus on positioning, having a tool like that in your deck to help you with positioning makes a really big difference in spells like Sucker Punch and Primal Roar, etc. So, and also just getting damage into. So, like, I think that's a really good sign that there is so much more innovation and deck building, a room that's left to do that people hadn't figured out yet. So I'm really interested to see how that evolves over time.
Yeah, I actually saw something gimmicky, a very nice gimmick, now that you're talking about phase boots, which is just over buffing a rebel decoy. Because the rebel decoy comes with that ability out the gate pretty much, and can just switch over every round. So if you buff it up properly with a little bit of armor and some extra damage, it gives you a couple extra rounds of fun. It doesn't have to be just instant death.
What about you, Anger? Like, have you been playing very much, I guess, serious constructed or watching it?
Well, I don't have Drow or Annihilation, and both of those are required in both of my favorite decks.
Rip.
I have one, like my mono green and my blue green. They all need those cards. But I have been experimenting with some other decks until I can play my actual deck. So, for example, green black and green blue black. Red green. But I also didn't have a Time of Triumph until yesterday, so that was also like I couldn't play red properly. But now, like, especially green black, I think might be a sleeper combination, because it does what blue black does, but a bit more reliably, I feel like, and without losing your heroes as much, because with blue black you don't just have squishy blue heroes, but also black heroes. With green, they're a little bit more tanky. And yeah, I feel like for blue, you basically only want dimensional pearl, or it depends what black blue deck you're running. But if you're going the Sorlakan Oath, Disciple of Nevermore deck, which is the one I love, green does basically the same thing as blue does, but more reliably. It's a bit it's the only problem is if you're against another swarm deck, because you don't really have a way to deal with that. So that's why I also experimented with splashing in one blue. But honestly, I felt like just having only only green and black was just better.
I mean, yeah, and it's a way that I've been playing, draft primarily, as I mentioned, but those black cards like Disciple of Nevermore and Sorla, like the amount of damage that they can output just all at once. Yeah. It's so crazy. And it's one of those things that if you also get good at it and like can read what your opponent's doing, you set things up where it looks like you're going to go for the right lane to push that tower down, but instead you go all in on the left lane, then push the ancient. Like there's all of these really tricky plays, and it makes for such a delicious decision-making process of trying to set up initiative, to manage your resources, in order to do that, in order to try and pull off those particular plays. I've been absolutely, specifically Sorla Khan and Disciple Nevermore and like the Oath, like playing those ones in draft is just a treat.
Yeah. I think Oath is one of my favorite cards. And also one of the reasons for going green instead of blue is cheating death. It's so disgusting.
Oh, here we go.
Disciple of Nevermore. and you have a bunch of creeps in Sorlakan, and then he tries to do something about it, but he can't because you have fucking cheating death.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think we should talk about cheating death just a little bit in a second. But first of all, I'd like to mention that I believe one of the greatest skill that will divide a good artifact player from a great one is when to fight for initiative. Because I have seen so many games decided simply by, I just want to play this one card, giving up initiative, and then on the next board, you just lose.
Yeah, fighting for initiative, and like there are the technical play aspect of Artifact. I just don't feel like people get it yet. There are layers and layers of it, and it's something that, like I mentioned this. I mentioned before that I've been doing these regular analysis videos. Every game that I play, I can find errors for one or both players. I mean, if I saw both players' hands, I could probably find errors for both players. I think for it, like it's so hard because you have to think through all the different possibilities and you sequence things properly. If you're deploying your heroes the wrong way, you can lose. If you're fighting for initiative the wrong way and the wrong time, you can lose. Like that, those are massive differences in individual games, and it's something that makes it really interesting. That I feel as if that compared to the average card game that I've played before, I think that technical play is more important and deck building is actually less important.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the power level of different cards feels a lot flatter because individual lanes, like it kind of like balances out the impact of things a little bit, so that it's particularly minor deck building differences in the like card quality between two different decks, it's actually not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But technical play, if you play wrong, if you play for initiative at the wrong time, if you sequence things wrong, if you play your hero in the wrong lane, you can lose the game automatically because of any of those mistakes.
Yeah. It's almost more of a strategy game than a card game.
Yep, it's. I think I mentioned this before, but I think that it's a lot closer to chess than a lot of people think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially because you can like just like quickly lump in what your opponent's hand could be into like various ways. There's just like if they're not playing Phantom Assassin or Sniper, then they just don't have hero kill cards. Like you just know that that's like the range of stuff that they could have just changes as a result of that. If they're not playing blue, then they don't have sweepers. So it just makes it really a lot easier to define of like, okay, this is what they have, this is what they don't, this is what I need to play around, this is what I don't need to. It's really, really interesting in how that plays out. But you wanted to bring up cheating death again, so I'm going to pass that back to you.
Yeah. I think that I brought this up with Swim, actually, and he had an interesting inkling on that. I said, it seems like cheating death is the most divisive card thus far. And he said, no, everyone thinks it sucks. That means it's not divisive.
Wait, everyone thinks it sucks?
Yeah, I mean,
it sucks?
it sucks in terms of it's bad. Like bad design. Like that's what he... Yeah. A lot of people have been saying that cheating death, just the raw 50-50, does it survive or not, until the very clash of combat, is a little much. Is what a lot of people are saying. They say even the coin toss with Bounty Hunter, that's also 50-50 for, a significant damage boost. You see that at the beginning of the action phase. You can still play around it. But with cheating death, the only real way to play around it is either eliminate any green heroes in the lane, use deck clearers like Eclipse or Chain Frost, which have pulse, or just straight up kill the improvement. Yes, there are ways to play around it, but if you... Like, that's why it's such an interesting discussion to have, because there are ways to play around it, and one could argue that if you don't have a way to deal with it in your deck is bad. But I think there's still something to be said for the fact that you just don't know until the clash of combat. It really feels in many ways like a cheap 50-50 RNG thing that Artifact manages to avoid for the most part.
What are your thoughts on the card, Anger?
Well, I hate playing it, and I hate playing against it, but it's still super good, so I have to include it. Like, that's the thing. For the opponent, it's really bad because they don't know what's gonna die, but you don't know what's gonna die either. You know, if your green hero dies and you're only running 2 green, and your other green hero is in a different lane, your cheating death is not gonna get any value until 2 rounds later. You know, but I still think it's good, but I don't like it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I think that's it's pretty valid. This is definitely one of the things I can't comment on as much, given that I haven't played Constructed yet. It's going to be played a lot differently there. In Draft, I kind of think that it's fine. One of the things I also have realized about myself is that I have a better resistance and better tolerance for RNG type stuff than a lot of other people have.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, for me, like the arrows and then like the Janata and stuff like that doesn't actually bother me that much. All these like low
trolls the shit out of me.
I've seen you tilt off for a little bit on some of those in your stream, which is fine. And that'll be something that you see like in forever now of like streamers and in tournaments and stuff like this. Like, Kurt, you motherfucker! Like, yes, or you know.
For me, it's
Curve, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, for me it's different. Like, I saw people already getting mad at the aggro arrows at the flop. And for me, that's like something that isn't worth getting upset over in a way. But yeah, when I see something surviving 3 times with cheating death, it's getting triggering.
Well,
I played Blood Bowl once upon a time, and that is literally a dice game for the most part. So I do have a high tolerance for certain RNG, but when it comes to stuff like getting mana screwed or draw screwed in other games, like, you know that about me, Neon, I get mad about that. When it's like, I just didn't draw the thing.
I'd rather they get rid of the arrows than they get rid of cheating death. Like, with cheating death, it's annoying for both parties, but you decide to play it, your opponent decides to play it, and then you can potentially remove it. The creep arrows, they're just always there, and it happens to both of you. That you can't do anything about it other than using new orders or whatever, you know. But still, when your opponent, like, it's in the deployment phase, if your opponent runs Sorla Khan or you run Sorla Khan, just whether or not she's gonna get a clean hit on the tower, and if there's nothing in front of her, if she's gonna curve into the creep, that's a 12 tower damage difference. And that's such a fucking big difference that, yes, it does matter. And it does, in my opinion, matter more than cheating death. Because at least there's some reduction to it. You have to play green for 1, and 2, if there's no green hero there, you know for a fact it's not gonna pop off. It costs 5 mana, so you, like, it won't always be played. You also have to draw it. Like, there's just, cheating death is just more of a non-factor, but the arrows are always fucking there, and they always fuck me up.
But there's so many ways to deal with them. There's so many different abilities that, you know, draw aggro in a different way, or you can just block
half of my fucking cards in my fucking deck to deal with arrows, you know?
How about a rookery? How about a messenger rookery?
Just to deal with the first fucking deployment phase and the fucking creep arrows.
How about a messenger rookery?
It's one of those things that just definitely...
a shitty fucking card messenger rookery in the deck. Yeah, spend 3 slots on messenger rookery.
No, it definitely is something that the... like the arrows like that, there's part of it, like, yes, when it's bad, it can be a little tilting, but I know that for myself, when I have been getting upset and getting frustrated by the arrows, I usually know it's time for me to log off. Maybe it's a little bit, late in the day when I'm getting upset about that. But it's like also something specifically for me that I've just been finding again and again and been shocked by, honestly, is how little early hero kills matter.
Oh yeah.
In some games. I've been learning this left and right. Like when I was talking about this game of Bristleback earlier, he fucked up my heroes all game long. Like as I said, he had like 10 or 12 armor or something like this by the end of the game. So he had killed like 5 heroes or something like that. And a lot of them were in the early game. And there was another game that I was actually playing against Naaman, who is a Hearthstone pro. and I was did an analysis video. You can find that on my channel. The hero kill score by like turn 3 or something like this was my 0 hero kills against his 6.
Wow.
I won that game.
Damn.
Oh wow, there you go.
Yeah, like I was able to win that game despite the fact that he killed my heroes again and again and again. The final hero kill numbers in that game, I think, was 11-4 in his favor. And I was still able to win. I was still able to win the game. By the way, all the hero kills on my side were a result of annihilation. One was his and one was mine. Yeah. But like that was. But you can win games like that because of if you find good ways to neutralize these heroes that have been overstated because of all of their items. Like there are ways to do that, and I find that part really interesting. And while it really sucks, it feels awful to lose your heroes in the early game. Like I don't want to lose my heroes in the early game, but you can fight back from that. And people, I didn't really believe how much you can do that, but it's totally possible.
Oh yeah, comebacks are real.
Yeah, I just want to re-emphasize that it's not necessarily just heroes dying that trolls me up, but like just the Sorla situation.
Yeah,
where
the Sorla one I think is
damage difference to the fucking tower. That fucking matters, you know. That matters.
Yeah,
so
and I think
fucking
that
much.
And I think that you're actually like totally right. That's a better example in some respects than the hero kills. Like hero kills, like there are ways to get them back, but like if your tower has a certain amount of damage on it, like you either can or cannot defend it based on that. So in some respects, it feels like a weird thing to say that I would a lot of the time rather that my Zeus or my Venomancer or whoever died versus my hero take 12 damage, my tower take 12 damage. But man, here tower damage is so important.
Yeah.
Migo face.
Yes. Fucking sporking in this game, man. It's so important. And there are just so many different ways to play around it.
They just need to remove the fucking arrows, man. They need to go. They can't stop. I'm sorry.
They're not gonna. I'm sorry. That's like
I don't think that they're gonna go.
But you never know, because the first expansion might break some rules. So who knows? Maybe there's gonna be like a, re-roll the arrows improvement or something. No, I don't know.
I mean, he used suggestion.
A suggestion.
I think that actually, like for instance, a hero. I don't know what hero would be, but like a hero that did something like that. That is like maybe a 2 turn cooldown ability that you could activate it, and then all of the arrows get re-rolled. I think that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Like, is there any hero in the game, like you guys would know this, that has like a confusion ability that would work well? That would be a good example of something like that.
Let me think. I mean, there's several that have disables like that. If we're talking about like re-rolling randomness or something, Chaos Knight.
No, okay, Chaos Knight could work, but I'm just like more thinking about like something who has like a confusion style ability that you could flavor it in that way.
Yeah, or maybe Oracle, like he could change the future.
Oh, sure. I mean, that also seems like an activated ability, 2 turn cooldown that's basically just battle control. Like, assuming that the hero stats itself were not great, that seems fine.
Well, we have already seen a mechanic similar in Forward Charge, so it's not that unlikely, actually.
Yep. I think that there's a lot more that can be done in that space, because clearly that's one of the parts of the game that is just super important. So managing those arrows, I think, would be really, really cool in various ways.
Yeah.
So with that, though, how does do you have anything else you guys wanted to say before we move on to doing a little bit of draft together?
Nope.
I really wish I could do draft.
Yeah. Well, you can do it vicariously. $200, man. No big deal. No big deal. Okay. So we're going to. Okay. So we should do the. We're taking a brief break here, and we're going to get started into a draft. The Secret Shop is brought to you by Ink Gaming, a wonderful place to get all of your gaming supplies, whether it's deck boxes, gaming mats, mouse pads, or apparel. Ink Gaming lets you choose between some of the best designs on the internet, or you can use your own artwork to have a one-of-a-kind style. Check out Ink Gaming using the link below, or use the promo code ASpace12 to save 12% off your order. That's ASpace12, all capitals with the number 12 at the end, to save 12% off your order at inkgaming.com. Okay, so we are going to do a draft right now. First we'll just remind you to the two of you that we're going to be trying to do this for both a video and an audio format. So try to narrate your thoughts as clearly as possible for doing this. But let's get into it. And this is a good opportunity to talk about our opinions of the various draft archetypes, etc. So to begin with, our first pack here, we have Centaur Warrunner as our hero. A couple copies of Bronze Legionnaire, Cursed Satyr. I'm also noticing Cunning Plan, Foresight, Troll, Soothsayer here. What are your opinions on Centaur Warrunner? Because I have actually, I think I've played against him like once, and I've seen him played like maybe a couple other times, but I really don't have a strong sense yet about like where he stands.
I fucking love Centaur Warrunner. Like he's
Oh,
not
yeah?
he's probably not top 3. But I think I maybe place him as number 4 actually. Maybe even number 3. It depends on what constructed deck. In draft, I don't think I've drafted him before because he is a rare, so I don't think I've ever gotten him in draft before. But in constructed, I really fucking love him, depending on how many reds you have. And that's why he might be the 3rd best red hero, because if you have 3 red, and usually in my red decks I only run 2, but if I run 3, he just becomes significantly better. And if you're running mono red, he's especially good. And because all the fucking noobs are playing red, and he is anti-red, that makes him even better, you know?
Sure.
But I don't think I would pick him here because it's the first pack, and it's the first cards in the pack, and also we have such much better options.
Yeah, I do like Double Edge. I think that is a pretty good card, but yeah. Pass on.
I honestly, like, for draft, I have a very weird relationship with red, specifically. Their cards, like, there's so many cards that are just so bad that they have. It feels like you don't do anything. It's just like you have a couple specific cards that do little bits and pieces of stuff here and there, but outside of that, you just feel like have so few options all the time.
Yeah, less thinking with red, maybe.
I don't know. I really like Troll Soothsayer. I don't know. Do you think Cunning Plan or Foresight is better? Because I really like this card.
I really like Troll Soothsayer too, but I think that I always want to make sure that I get some sort of critical mass of like 4-ish of either Cunning Plan, Compel, and Ventriloquy in my blue decks before I really want to get these. Like, to me, Troll Soothsayer is a luxury. Cunning Plan and Compel type cards are a necessity for every deck. So, one
other thing to consider though is that it's a common, while the Troll Soothsayer is an uncommon, so the chance of you getting more Cunning Plans is pretty high.
Yeah, but you also need like 4 of them.
Yeah.
Right?
And
like, between that and Compel.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah.
I mean, like my preference is to go for the Cunning Plan, but we can go for the Troll Soothsayer too, because I think that's defensible as well.
What do you think, Cymen?
Yeah, I personally prefer Foresight to the Soothsayer, but it's definitely not a crime to take it. Personally, I think
Plan versus Soothsayer.
Well, if that is the choice, because personally I would definitely take the Bronze Legionnaire and then one of those 3 blues. I would probably take Cunning Plan.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to be our tiebreaker here, because I think that we're going to get a lot of disagreements for it.
Because that does card draw and the switch.
Okay, so Disciple of Nevermore is in this next pack. Other cards here, the hero here is Necrophos, which I do not want to take here. He's not good in this position. But Disciple of Nevermore is an easy pickup in my mind because the card is busted.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, we have Selfish Cleric, Divine Intervention, Poised to Strike, Tresden Standard, and then Trebuchets, I guess, is the only other one who's worth considering. But Tresden Standard...
The only ones really worth taking here is Tresden Standards and Selfish Cleric. I don't think there's anything else here, because both of these cards are pretty good. I'd say Tresden Standards is a little bit better than Selfish Cleric, but the rest here is just not worth taking compared to these two, because they're so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree there. Tresden Standards is definitely a card that has impressed me in draft. It's especially if you get into like a 3 red deck or something like this, or an aggressive deck, it can do a lot because it can, save 1 or 2 creeps as early as the second turn, and then it can also kind of set up some big swing turns, which it's kind of hard to do that sometimes in red, I find. So I like Dresden Standard quite a lot, even though it looks a bit weird of a card. I'll also just read it for those of us who maybe not are listening and might not remember everything that it does, because it's a weird card. 4 cost, red, rare, spell. Modify a red hero with, after you play a red card, give this hero and its allied neighbors +1 attack and +1 armor this round. So if you can chain off a bunch of cheap red spells, for example, you can set up a big boatload of damage. So I like this pick of Disciple of Nevermore and Dresden Standards.
Yep.
Yeah. I agree with these picks. I would say if you have like green in mind for some reason, the Cleric would have been a good creep. But I think that in that combination, the Dresden Standards was the better card overall.
Yeah. I think this early, though, it's better to just take the best cards and then add decide on a set color later. So Selfish Cleric is much better to get in a later pack if you have already gone for green, but super early, it's not as good in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Salamene's Favor is increasingly better depending on what you have already picked. So early, I don't like taking Salamene's Favor.
Yeah, I agree with that. So right now, the current pack, I'll just read them out all. Relentless Zombies, Arcane Censor, Ormesk Blessing, Salamade's Favor, Arm the Rebellion, Defensive Blooms, Book of the Dead, and Plate Mail. This pack is pretty meh other than the green cards, which we haven't picked up anything else before that's of this color. But I think, so right now, Anger has selected Ramesk Blessing, which is they choose a lane, modify allies in the lane with +3 health, and then Arm the Rebellion, which is modified ally creeps with +2 attack and +1 armor. We don't have any green cards yet, but I still think that these are correct in case we do get hooked up with more green stuff later on.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Relentless Zombie is actually pretty good too, though. Actually, Relentless Zombie, shout out to my boy Relentless Zombie and Wool Martyr. Wool Martyr is actually kind
of
good.
What a fucking all-star. What a champion.
Amazing blockers.
I always I always used to pick Selfish Cleric and what's it called? The one that costs 3 mana with face boots, basically. What's it called? Rebel Decoy.
The Rebel Decoy.
Like, basically any
Lila.
green creep, I would always pick over Wool Martyr. But lately, I've been experimenting a little bit with Wool Martyr, and he's actually pretty fucking good.
Okay, let me tell you about some synergies that I've done with Lich and the Wool Martyr. That's pretty saucy.
Oh,
I really like that. So Wool Martyr, to me,
it's so
he's been great. But the Relentless Zombie though, just like somebody of my decks is like, okay, just get me to turn 8, just get me to turn 9. I can do this as long as you keep me alive here. So Relentless Zombie, you're under the fucking bus, buddy. You're just taking it 2 turns in a row, feeding to this bristleback, but that's your job, and you're gonna like it. So he's a champ for that, but I'm not gonna pick him up quite yet because you can usually get them later if you're in that position.
Yeah.
So right now we have 1 good black card, 1 good blue card, 2 good red cards, and 2 good green cards. Yeah. Right now we are looking at a pack of Foresight and 1 for me, Trebuchets, Arcane Censor, Divine Intervention, and Book of the Dead.
Personal preference here. I love and 1 for me. But maybe that's just me. I've seen so many great plays with that.
Well,
okay.
In construction, I agree.
I had some sick and 1 for me plays. Yeah. How do you guys feel about a double Vesture of the Tyrant in Draft?
Ooh,
well,
baby.
1, you don't get fucking Vesture of the Tyrant in Draft.
I get Vesture of the Tyrant in Draft!
Everyone and their fucking mother is running the cheapest items in Draft, so okay, you earn 1 for me and you get a short sword.
I actually saw another...
It's situational.
Yeah, I actually saw another weird deck, which I believe was blue and green, which played like an Econ Ramp deck, but it had no Econ Ramp cards except for fucking Annihilation. that person would just no, really, that person would just wait for the other player to overcommit to a lane with like 3 heroes or something, and then just annihilate that lane. And only no cheap cards in the item deck, only Red Mist Maul and fucking Apotheosis Blades and all that shit. And it actually worked surprisingly well. It was quite a thing to watch. Literally just annihilate Econ.
So for me, though, on the and one for me thing for draft specifically, in my opinion, you need to have at least one very high value target that you have in your deck, and you basically need to be playing with black. If you're not, it's going to be really hard to get value of it. Now, in this pack, though, going back to this one, Foresight, Trebuchets, and I think Divine Intervention is actually one that I'm kind of interested in. I honestly feel like right now, Anger has selected Foresight, Trebuchets. I kind of like Foresight, Divine Intervention. Because I've honestly, this card has impressed me a ton. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think Divine Intervention and Trebuchet is probably equal here. I think, and one for me comes a little bit short. Like, these three are definitely the ones I am considering. I haven't played Divine Intervention that much, but I've seen, like you've said, other people play it very well.
Oh man, there are. I have seen some blowouts with that card, and if you can time it right, like you can't play too many of them. Like this is very much the kind of card where you want one. This is a good point to mention. In draft, one of the things that I have learned again and again is the importance of diversifying your cards. Like you want to have access to a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, like spread things out so that you have a lot of tools that are available to you, rather than just saying, "Okay, this card is good," and just going all the way deep on that one thing. Because if you are limited in what you can do, it really makes a big difference. I mean, there's a couple of specific cards where you're like, "Yeah, I'll just play as many of these as I can get," but for the most part, I would rather have like one Intimidation, one Divine Intervention, one Rosary Rejuvenator, one the Thunder Hide pack, like have like kind of like one of each, or like spread them out like that, rather than having like 4 copies of any one of those given cards.
Let's just go with Neon's pick on this one.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, so we're gonna go for a Better Late Than Never and Reservation. Sven, that's a pretty good pickup line.
That's one of the best fucking draft heroes.
I would say now that we have Sven, it's definitely a good thing that we have Dresden Standards, and now we can actually look into like those red buffing spells. Those are so good on Sven.
Okay, so we have some business right here. So this second pack, Beastmaster, Spot Weakness, 2 copies of Cunning Plan, Satyr Magician, Incarnation of Celamine, Trebuchets, Assassin's Apprentice, Stonewall Cloak, Shield of Basilius, and some other garbage. The Beastmaster, I think, is a pretty easy take here, right?
Yeah,
he's really good.
Like with Sven together, that's really nice. But I'm just thinking, like, look at this pack, like as a whole. If you were going blue, Jesus,
it's very strong. Yeah. So you've selected the Skater Magician. I like that. I definitely like having some of these refresh tools in my deck. So I think that going with that one makes sense to me. I like it hurts me to give up on these cunning plans.
This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good.
Yeah,
this is good.
This is
good.
Everything
Everything is good except this, you know. But this is the best one. Like, I'm sorry, but Satyr Magician is just so fucking good.
It's so good. The fact that she's free functionally is just busted.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so it's pretty obvious here. We're going red, blue, maybe green. Our black is looking pretty weak right now. We have really good, but few green. We have more blue, but I don't think they're as strong as our green. So for me, it seems like we're going red, blue.
Yeah, I am leaning in that direction right now. And right now, also, all of our green, we don't have any like the kind of the core green stuff in my mind. Like we don't have Thundereye Pack, we don't have Selfish Cleric, we don't have Rosary Rejuvenator. So in that respect, it's a little bit awkward. And this pack right now, we have some of the cards that I'm looking at is M1 for me, Agnum Sanctum, Intimidation. The fact that we just picked up that Theater Magician means that the Agnum Sanctum isn't quite as attractive to me. Right now we have selected the Intimidation and the Better Late Than Never, which I kind of agree with. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm still a little torn, honestly. Like, on one hand, I'm just very particular when it comes to blue. Like, I just love all the mana ramp I've been seeing, etc. So the Aghanim Sanctum looks very seductive to me, especially now that we've already got the Satan Magician. There's some degenerate stuff that you could do. But yeah, Intimidation is a really strong green card as well. Oh, man.
And Better Late Than Never is also really good. I think Aghanim Sanctum is good, but I just think these two, they're just better.
The thing is that in draft, you can't really commit too much to like a strategy you have in your head. Like, there's no guarantee that you're actually going to end up with the deck I'm describing.
It's better to spread it out, like Neon said. Since like Neon said, we have a Cedar Magician, so now taking another one, instead just spreading it out, doing more different things.
I agree with that. So let's go with Better Late Than Never and Intimidation. Oh, Deep Portal! Deep Portal. Okay, so Dimensional Portal. Okay, the only other consideration...
It's not too late to go black.
Yeah, we have a Steam Cannon here, which is really tempting. That card is fucked up.
Yeah, but it's true. It's never too late to go black.
Well... Okay, so right now, we have very strong blue and green, and we have 2 red. We have to go red, or we don't have to, but since we have committed to 2 heroes on red, and this pack in particular seems like people are taking red, so we're not going to get any good reds. But our blue and green is so strong that I don't think we want to go for black. Like, black is just the one that's going to be the least prioritized here, unless we ditch all these green cards.
I feel like, oh god, this one's hard. Like the green, like our green is good, but it's not like insane.
Yeah, on second thought, I thought it was better than this, but you're actually right. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I think that let's go with Steam Cannon and Dimensional Portal. This is a risky one. This is a hard draft. So let's go with the Dimensional Portal, though. By the way, God, like that card.
Yeah,
so
even that combat training looks kind of good with Sven, but yeah.
Defensive stance.
This deck now, this pack is something else. A defensive stance, 2 copies of that, and one for me, a Gloaty Catapult, Tyler Estate, and Broadsword. We're going to go for the one for me and Oglodi Catapult because they are barely playable compared to everything else.
Well,
in this
we
pack.
could consider going defensive stance just for a filler, since we have 2 red heroes. We could consider it, and especially.
God, I don't want to.
An Oglodi Catapult. Are we really going to put that in our deck?
I don't want to play any.
No, but the thing is, you
maybe just put the broadsword instead.
If we're gonna think about what are we more likely to play, broadsword never. We would just go short sword instead. Tyler Estate, we would never put that in our deck. And one for me, we might maybe a Gloaty Catapult. No, like then if we have to risk.
Given the fact that we have the Tresden Standard, the Tresden Standard to me puts it over the edge. Let's go for the defensive stance because it's just a cheap like pump spell.
This one, self-sabotage, it's actually not that bad.
Oh, I do not believe you. I do not believe you.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that people are exaggerating how bad it is.
Well, first of all, it was a mistake to take that other hero because we could have had Lion.
Yes.
Oh, and we got Tyler Estate earlier too. Lion plus Tyler Estate.
Yeah, man, just fuck them up. Oh, by the way, I have encountered people who are playing Lion in draft, and without fail, they will just like randomly fire off Mana Drain for like just no clear reason. And just like turn 1, like just Mana Drain you after I've already like done some stuff. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just calm down, buddy. You're playing this card like. Whatever. That tells me. I played against somebody 3 fucking lions. I'm not kidding. That game was not difficult.
Okay, so which one is worse? They're both atrocious, but I think we are more likely to run Jasper Daggers.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna play either, but we'll just go for it.
Okay.
Defensive stance, self-sabotage! Self-sabotage deck
There you
coming
go.
in hot.
Okay. I don't think we want to do this. Like, taking
Oh,
the
buddy,
first
it's
fucking hero
Prelix.
is...
Prelix, though, I love her
Prelix
so
sucks,
much.
dude.
No,
Oh, come
she's
on.
great.
Don't hate
She's
on Mom.
amazing. She and I, we have a history. We have a thing going on. You are the one who technically has the controls of it, so you might get to do the thing that's more responsible.
I'm not taking Feedlex.
No, she's okay. But we
Wow.
can't take 4 colors of stuff. You're taking the Vul Martyr and the Assassin's Apprentice. We need to choose what colors we are here. Anger. Okay, going for the cunning plan
Let's
instead.
do this. But like, okay, so we took Beastmaster as the first hero in the last pack. Sven was like after the second or whatever. Like, we have to sometimes wait a little and see if we get
Sven, we
something
got
better, unless
last.
it's a
Sven,
really
we got
good hero.
last. Okay.
Okay, whatever. But the thing is, with blue, unless you get one of the best blue heroes, you don't want to go blue because
That's you.
in
Prelix is so good. You just don't believe. You just don't know how to. You don't have the skills for being the.
But what if we get the Zeus in the next?
Okay,
round?
well, like it's
the
fine.
what if?
because-
Or literally any other blue
Come
hero.
on, she's great.
There's like
Also, I
Okay.
just want to say that Fight Through the Pain is good just because you get initiative for 1 mana. Just saying.
Lucard is better than I thought it was for it, but I think that going for like I'm fine just to say that we're not going to take the Prelix today. Oh, you did take the.
I did it.
Thank
Let's go
you,
next.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have pretty good green here. Do we just fuck black and go green?
I think we
so.
say fuck that. We go for the Ogre Conscript
We can.
instead of the Stars
Yeah.
Align though. I think that I like that.
Yeah, I didn't see
Yeah.
him. But
Yeah,
you're
because we have all this good red stuff too.
right. Okay.
Okay, this pack
This
we
one.
have the Rebel Decoy, and then I guess so other ones that we see. There's a Sen, which we obviously can't take. Ogre Corpse Tosser, Relentless Zombie, Diabolic Revelation, Rebel Decoy, Smeevil, Blacksmith. This is the 2/2 that gives an armor to one of your heroes. Book of the Dead and Ring of Trask. You're going here for Rebel Decoy, Smeevil, Blacksmith.
Yeah, because we have a lot of blue right now.
Yeah, we do.
And I think we need to put in some more green and Smeevil. But Rebel Decoy is
Oh,
sick.
yeah.
Smeevil Blacksmith is not that
He's
bad.
fine.
It's actually kind of
He's
good.
fine. Yeah, I think this looks good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ooh.
Path of the Dreamer.
We're probably only going to splash in 1 green.
Yeah, I don't
though,
like it.
so maybe
So
not.
other ones that we have here, we have New Orders, Clear the Deck, Spot Weakness, Ventriloquy, Path of the Dreamer, and then Barbed Mail. I like the either Clear the Deck or Spot Weakness and the Ventriloquy. Ventriloquy we need in order to keep Prelix alive because she's Bae. You have to protect her.
Yeah. Maybe clear the deck. Like, just because we have Sven, maybe it's not as good. I don't know,
Actually,
since we already have
I think it's
Cleave,
really
you
good
know?
to have another cleaver or to buff his cleave. I think that's good.
But, you know, I don't think you ever want really more than 4 cleave anyway, because that's enough to kill creeps, you know? Like, more, like, it's kind of like more than 2 armor, that it's just, it doesn't...
Well, you definitely
I don't know.
get
Or it
diminishing returns
has-
beyond
it
that point,
diminishes.
but it's still pretty good. And besides, Sven is one of those that actually gets pretty high cleave anyways, because it's half his attack.
What do you think, Neon?
I mean, I think that it's really close. I'm actually looking at the cost curve right now, and we have a lot of 4s specifically, and that honestly to me is the
Yeah.
tiebreaker that I would rather go for the 3. Like right now we have no red 3s, so I think that that's what puts it over the edge for me. That I like the Spot Weakness.
Also, spot weakness is fucking sick.
Mm.
Yeah, it's solid. Through the deck though, I like to have copies of that.
Okay, this card isn't that bad.
Lightning
actually,
Strike?
in my opinion.
I have
Luby opened my eyes.
yeah. I died the other day to some lightning strikes. Did not feel great.
What if we get an ogre?
What then? What happens next? Yeah. Okay. So lightning strike, collateral damage.
Okay, listen. Idea. So in draft, you get 3 ogres
Okay.
and a bunch of lightning
Yeah.
strikes, and you put all the ogres in the same lane and just lightning
And
strike
then
and crystal
incarnation
maiden.
of Salamene. It'll be so saucy. I love it.
Bolt of Damocles to finish it off if all else fails. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
And Better Late Than Never and Tyler Estate. Oh, sweet. Got an OD here. Outworld Devourer up in this business.
Oh,
So
this is looking pretty good.
do we
Okay,
want
so we-
another Tristan Standards, maybe?
I think we do.
Yeah, I don't think we want more. Even if this is pretty good, I don't think we want more blue now.
Oh.
Because we're already at 17.
Oh, Messenger.
Some of
Rookery
them
is
are
good
probably
all of a
bad, and we're gonna
sudden.
cut them.
Hey,
In draft, yes, but I wouldn't put it in a constructed deck, which is what you were suggesting.
If you don't like those arrows.
I think this is between Disciple and Ramesh.
we're not playing black, right?
Oh, we abandoned black.
Okay,
Yeah,
so Ramesh
right.
Blessing. Yeah, so that's the +3 health for all our allies in the lane. So I like that Tristan Standard and that. Zeus and fucking Dimensional Portal.
Watch
doing
out,
it.
mortals.
We're doing it. Ah,
The Keenful Golem, though.
yeah, passing up in that 13/13 value.
I actually built a deck around
Of course
Keenful
you did.
Golem.
Of course you did.
It's basically where all your cards are 4 mana or less, except the Keenful Golem, and it's 3 red, 2 blue, I believe. I can't remember exactly. And there's a bunch of Foresight, a bunch of Cunning Plan, all the card drawing cards. So you want to do that until you have the Keenful Golem, and then all the cards are super low mana cost. So you play them all before mana 6, so you don't have any cards on your hand when you play this card.
Yeah, okay, we're
That
pretty
sounds-
locked into red-blue now.
Yeah, we can still splash the green. We'll have to see kind of how things
Yeah.
plan out. But we'll definitely like Zeus and Dimensional Portal. Keenful Golem, well, maybe another time. We'll talk about that. But
Deep Portal
Deep Portals.
with Disciple, though.
oh yeah, I mean, D Portal is so like God Almighty. That card is messed up.
Man, Legion Standard Bearer. Okay, we're gonna go with the Deep Portal, but I'm just saying this
Legion
card
Standard Better
is
is
pretty
solid.
good.
Don't get me wrong. Like I'm totally happy to play that one in the draft. But
Ooh, I think it's time
Phase
to go for
Boots?
items.
Yeah, Phase Boots seems good. We also other cards in it is Defensive Stand, Sucker Punch, Foresight, Rolling Storm, Lodestone Demolition. So right now, looking at this deck, we are either going to be we're going to be 2 blue. We have more blue than we really need. So as a result, I think that we're going to go for the Sucker Punch over the Foresight.
Yeah.
They're very similar power level, but just given the card mix, I like the Sucker Punch over the Foresight right now.
Stun is so good.
Yeah, I mean, when you can get a good Sucker Punch off, it is great.
Yeah.
That's basically summarizes everything that's going on in the pack, so we don't even need to tell you about it. For those of you who are going in the audio, it's just garbage like an obliterating orb, like who gives a shit?
Okay.
New orders and
This is
trebuchets.
The superior
buckets.
siege
Ugh.
engine.
the book. Ooh, is that our last hero? Or do
Oh, wait.
want
We have at any cost in here, where that's one of the cards we're taking for sure. We're taking at any cost.
Okay,
Double
so-
intimidation
Okay.
in this one.
But
So
okay, so if we run Farvan, that's not so bad. So I think we actually win.
I think that Farvon is only a hair worse than Magnus. So, and I also
Yeah.
find that for the last pack, you're more likely to get good heroes late because people will already know what colors they are.
Mhm.
So I want to take the
Yeah.
risk on it and go over something instead like it doesn't even matter what we have, like pick a fight, rebel, interrogator, enough magic here. We also got the at any cost, which is great. We were very happy about that.
I
But,
love enough. I love enough magic.
This seems like a good enough magic deck,
Yeah.
actually. Honestly, like
Yeah.
specifically, you could imagine some board states where you set things up and then enough magic, and you just punk them out of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Blade
at any
of
cost,
the
enough
Vigil
much.
for the law.
Luna. Okay, we're dropping the green.
We have 23
fuck,
blue,
yeah.
16 red. We can do this.
Yeah, and then
We have
fucking
Stone
Stonehall
Hall
Elite, Luna. Oh, baby, this is coming together. We're actually turning down a
We're doing
Bronze
it.
Legionnaire, which hurts me. But like for Luna and Stonehall Elite, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I have actually not yet played Luna in draft because I never fucking get them. Smash the Defenses and Foresight is solid.
Yeah.
Now that we're playing for the 3 blue of it. these cards. Braille of the Vigil is fine. Assault, Arcane Assault is like okay-ish filler, but I don't think they need it.
Once again, getting initiative when you want it so strong.
Yeah, especially with something like Luescent Beam. Like, sometimes you really want to set that up so that she can fuck people up. Crusader, Bracers of Sacrifice seems fine.
Mm-hmm. Crusader's actually not that bad with the extra zombie when you have Cleave in your deck. Okay, Spot Weakness, another one, nice.
Okay, so what's our deployment order?
Yeah, we just...
Do we put in the... both of the... Wait, what's his damage? 5? Because... No, I think we want to do this, right?
So I like Prelix on the turn.
Okay, so like this.
Yeah, because let's just like look also what our curve list is. The order that we're saying that right now is that the flop heroes are Sven, Beastmaster, Luna, and then Prelix is on the turn and Zeus is on the river.
We could also just do this.
That's also possible too, of putting the Beastmaster on the river position and put Zeus on the flop. Let's take a look at our curve, and just because we like want to see what it looks like first. Because I kind of like having 2 red heroes out early, given we have the 2 Dresden standards.
Yeah. How do you usually build it? I just put everything I know is not trash, and then I remove.
Yeah, that's usually what I do.
Yeah.
Diabolic Revelation, I tried that in one of my decks that had like 2 Triana Protectors in it. Card is still bad.
What card is bad?
Diabolic Revelation in draft. I was trying it.
So I think this is it, isn't it?
That's a perfect 40 cards. That looks pretty solid. We have 17 red cards, 23 blue.
Wow.
Our curve looks pretty sexy.
Damn, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just clearly experts at this. We just had it all figured out as we were drafting it.
Yeah, we'll
so
update you next week, I guess, on the perfect run that Anger's gonna have with this.
Well, okay, so one thing. The blue cards we have, we don't really want to run like at any cost, a lightning strike. These are cards we don't want to run on the flop, right?
I think.
But with red, spot weakness, we could play the first Bronze Legionnaire new orders. These are all good first.
Yeah, I think that I agree with this of saying that we want to have our flop heroes of Sven, Beastmaster, and Luna, because all of our 3s are pretty red focused that are actually good.
Yeah, get the beef out first, and then add the spice.
Yeah, and then I actually also particularly like the play pattern of doing something like play out Prelix next to one of your red heroes, and then use the Dresden Standard on turn 2 to maybe even save her or something like that too. There's a lot of these play patterns here that seem good. The Stonehall Elite too, that's another good reason to have them on the turn, the table earlier for it. So and also just even having a blue hero in position 5 so that we can set up doing a barracks play too. Then I like that as well. So there's a lot going on here in terms of it. I'm actually having a video that's going to be coming out really soon about hero ordering, because this is a subject that I see a lot of people who are doing it really badly, and so something to look forward to for the channel soon. Oh, yeah. But I really like this deck. This deck looks sick.
Yeah, I'm actually very confident in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, items. Okay. So we get the blade, we get the boots, we get 3 or 2 cloaks at least. What do you think we have smashed their defense?
We don't need Obliterating Orb. When you said before that Obliterating Orb is trash, you were definitely right. I just don't believe in the card.
Yeah. Book of the Dead with Dimensional Portal and Prelix? Maybe? We won't be able to
expensive.
I kind of like this. No, come on.
It's so bad.
Nah, put one in. Put one in for the memes.
Okay, we'll put
just
it in.
Just imagine you flood a board and they annihilate it, or just clear it and then you just play this.
I don't think we need Jasper Dagger simply because we have Pierce, the Pierce card, the red one. Bard Mail is just trash. So I think we get the short sword at the very least. Maybe one more short sword and Traveler's Cloak.
Yep, that looks good.
That's it.
Okay, so we will post all of our results with this deck afterwards. But I think that will do it for today. This was a lot of fun, guys. Do you guys have anything that you wanted to talk about on our way out the door?
The Artificers Guild has ramped up our content production. There's been a lot of stuff, so there's a lot of videos, so enjoy those, please. And I'm still on my one project that I'm definitely going to finish before the game is out proper, as a little goodbye to what the community has been up until now.
What about you, Anger? What about you? What are you doing recently? You've been doing some streaming. What else?
Yeah, I've been working on a lore video about Call to Arms, but the problem is, okay, it's 7,500 words.
Okay.
Damn, that's one card.
11 pages. And that's not including everything, because I haven't written in the parts where I let the card read itself, you know?
Sure.
And I haven't put that in, so a lot of words aren't actually in it, and it's, oh shit, you can see it.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be coming sometime soon, hopefully. For that, but that's pretty intense. But yeah, I've been doing my regular analysis videos. I've been doing my regular, I was obviously this as well. So just check out all the stuff that's been going on the channel, and greatly appreciated. So thank you though so much for joining us today. That will be everything. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Peace.
Thank you. Thank you for your business.
Oh, bitter enemies, the best card in the game. I have 6.
Love it.
Path of the Bold. I have 6. Assured Destruction. You know, the one everyone puts in their deck. 8. Path of the Dreamer. Okay, Path of the Dreamer is okay. I have 7 Path of the Dreamer. Fog of War. I didn't even know this card existed before I got it in these packs, because I have fucking 9 of them. Nobody fucking plays Fog of War. It's trash.